Hello, second grade scientists, and welcome back to Science with Mrs. Miller. Today in Lesson 4, we will be comparing and contrasting properties of solids. But before we start, I need to ask you, in our last lesson, I asked you to keep this sheet, this activity sheet, where we describe properties of solids in a safe place. Did you do that? Do you know where it is? If you don't have it, go find it right now. You'll need that for this lesson. You could pause the video and go find it if you don't have it. Okay, now we're going to watch this fun little video on the properties of materials, just to learn a little bit more about properties of materials. And this video will also talk to us about how we can classify objects based on their properties. So listen up.
Hey everybody.
Hi!
The world around us is made of all different types of materials, and we can describe those materials in different ways. For example, take some of these objects that we might find in a classroom. Now these objects can be arranged based by their properties. So the first property we're going to arrange them by is size. So we have several very large objects and several smaller objects. So we're going to take our large objects, like our scissors, our stapler, and our computer mouse, and we'll put them over here. Then we're going to take our smaller objects, our die, eraser, paperclip, pencil, and our half dome, and move them over here. And you can see that we can separate them based on that property. We can also arrange them in different ways. Let's try arranging them by color. So we have reds. So let's put all our reds in one group. We have a red stapler, red scissors, and a red die. We have our gray mouse and our gray paperclip. We have a green die and a green eraser, and a yellow pencil and a yellow dome. We can also arrange these objects based on how they feel. So we have some hard objects and some soft objects. So as we go through, we want to arrange them. We'll put our hard objects over here and our soft objects over here. Our computer mouse and our paperclip are both hard objects. Same with our die, both colors, our scissors, and our stapler. Those are all hard objects. Our eraser, on the other hand, is soft. You can see that it's bendable. The half dome is also soft. Our pencil, that's going to go in our hard objects. Now we have them arranged by hard and soft.
I wonder why different objects are made from different materials.
It's done that way so that it's more convenient. For example, the floor. It's hard so that we can stand on it confidently without falling through. Our clothes, on the other hand, are soft. They're soft so that they're more comfortable for us to wear.
Actually, that's true.
Can you imagine if builders and the people who made our shirts switched those two around?
Oh yes, that would be a disaster.
I know, it'd be crazy. If we look around us, we'll notice that all things are made from different materials, and those materials have different properties.
Like what?
Let's take a look. For example, this stone. What is stone like, and what could be made from it?
Stone is hard and solid. Some solid stuff can be made out of it. Houses, gazebos. A park lane can be paved with it.
That's right. Stone is heavy and dense, so we make strong things from it. Can you imagine what would happen if we made a boat from stone?
They better not. The boat would sink right away because stones are heavy.
That's right. It wouldn't work very well. A rock's properties make it heavy and dense. It doesn't float very well, and it doesn't make a very good boat. What we need is something with different properties, something that's light and can float, like wood. Let's try this wooden boat. Let's put this wooden boat in the water and see what happens. Because of the different properties between stone and wood is why the boat can float and the stone sunk. That's why builders have been making boats from wood for thousands of years.
What about now?
There's even more durable floating materials like plastics nowadays. But even today, some boats are still made from wood.
The bench is made out of wood too.
Yes, many different objects are made from wood. A house, a bench, or a boat could be made from it.
Also a toy. Or a whole game.
Now it's your turn. Take a look around school and your home and look at all the different objects. Try and organize them into groups based on their properties. You can organize them by color, size, shape. Looking at these properties will bring us one step closer to understanding the world around us. Feel free to leave comments down below and let us know what kind of objects you found around your house and the different properties that you organize them into. We'd love to hear from you. That's it for today. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, now you guessed it. We are going to sort the objects that we used in our last lesson, our last science lesson. We're going to take them and we're going to organize or sort them so that we can classify them by their properties. So use this sheet to help you. See if you could find all 10 of the objects that you used in our last science lesson. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to find them all. Ready, set, go. One, two, three, eyes on me. Did you have enough time to find them all? If you didn't, you can pause this video to find the rest of your objects. I found all 10 of mine. So now it's time for us to classify them by their properties. Let's sort and classify our objects based on their properties. The first property that we will look at is color. All right, so watch as I classify my objects by color. Well, the ruler is orange. Put that over there. The cotton ball and the golf ball, they're both white. This hair tie is black. My pencil is yellow. My Post-its are yellow, so I'll put them together. Let's see, my marker is yellow. My pen is blue. My paper clip is blue. And my scissors, let's see, they have some orange and some gray. I guess I'll put it with the orange since I don't have a gray section. I could also do a multicolored section and keep it on its own. Now, all right, now it's your turn to sort and classify your objects by color. Again, you'll have 30 seconds to do this. Ready, set, go. Time's up. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. So how did you do? Were you able to successfully sort and classify all of your objects by the property of color? Well, let's look to see what the next property will be classifying our objects by is. Color is not the only way that we could sort them. Let's see how else we could sort them. Next we'll sort them by the property of flexibility. So we'll need to sort our objects into 2 groups, those that are flexible and those that are rigid. Okay, I'll show you how I sort mine. So let's see. So my ruler, this particular ruler is flexible. I can bend it. So this will be the flexible section over here. Now let's see. My cotton ball also is flexible. I can bend my cotton ball, so I'll put that with the ruler. My hair tie is also flexible. I can bend that. And so I'll put that over here. Now my pencil is rigid. So here, let me move these off for a second. So I'm going to put my pencil on this side. This will be the rigid side. My pen is also rigid. I cannot bend it. So I'll put it over here. See, golf ball, also rigid. Can't bend that. My paper clip, let's say this was flexible. Look, I can bend it. So I'm going to put it in the flexible section. And my marker was rigid. I'll put it over here with all the other rigid items. My scissors, also rigid. I can't bend those. So I'll put them over here with the other rigid items. And last but not least, my Post-its. Those are, you guessed it, flexible. So I'll put them over here with my flexible items. All right, now it's your turn to classify your objects by the property of flexibility. So you're going to sort your items into 2 groups, those that are flexible and those that are rigid. I'll set the timer for 30 seconds. See if you can beat the clock. Ready, set, go. Okay, everybody, time's up. Let's see what property we'll be looking at next. Okay, so the next property that we'll be looking at is shape. So there are many different shapes that we might categorize or classify our items as. So you can look at 2D shapes, 3D shapes. So you have more than one cylinder. Irregular shapes, you have more than one item that doesn't really fit into a specific shape, or items that are straight or items that are round. And remember, you can use your sheet to help you. How did you classify the shape of each object on your sheet? Again, I'll set the timer for 30 seconds. See if you could beat the clock. Ready, set, go. Time's up, everyone. Stop, look, and listen. All right, were you able to beat the clock? Did you sort all of your items into their different properties? Okay, let's see what our next property is. For our next property, we'll be sorting our objects by texture. Did you have objects that were soft, hard, smooth, rough, bumpy, fuzzy, prickly, pointy? Go ahead and sort them by the property of texture. You'll have 30 seconds to do this. Ready, set, go. Time is up, eyes up here. Did you beat the clock? Were you able to classify your objects based on their texture? Great job, everyone. Last but not least, we'll be looking at size. So do you have multiple objects that were small, medium, large, long, or short? You're going to now classify them by the property of size. You'll have 30 seconds again. Try to beat the clock. Ready, set, go. All right, and that was the last property that we'll be sorting our items by. Now we're going to go on to talk about something that's related to the classifying that we just did. We are going to talk about how we can compare and contrast. You probably learned to compare and contrast in first grade. Do you remember learning how to compare and contrast? What does that mean? If you remember, I want you to whisper into your hands what it means to compare and contrast. Go ahead and do that. All right, eyes on me. So did you say something like, to compare and contrast means to look at how things are the same and different? If you did, you are correct. We're going to watch this video clip now that talks more about comparing and contrasting. Let's listen.
Hello. Today we are going to learn about compare and contrast. Are you ready? What does it mean to compare? When we compare, we look to see how things are alike or the same. What does it mean to contrast? When we contrast, we look to see how things are not alike or different. When we compare two things, sometimes we use a graphic organizer called a Venn diagram. Things that are different go on the outside. Things that are the same go in the middle. Let's try it. Let's compare cats and dogs using a Venn diagram. Cats meow and dogs bark, but they both have fur. Can you think of some more things to add to our diagram? Great job, friends! Remember, when we compare, we're looking at how things are the same. When we contrast, we look at how they're different. See you again soon.
All right, that was a great little video. So just to recap, let's see if we remember what we learned. When we compare, we look at how things are the same. That's right. And when we contrast, we look to see how things are different. You're right. Have you ever used a Venn diagram before? Well, this is what a Venn diagram looks like. The video mentioned a Venn diagram and showed us how we could use it. In the video, we compared and contrasted dogs and cats. Well, today in science, we will be comparing and contrasting materials. We'll be comparing and contrasting the different solids that we looked at in our last science lesson and the solids that we just classified and sorted. So this sheet on comparing and contrasting can be found, if you're at home, it can be found in your Google Classroom. If you're in school, your teacher will give it to you. This is what the first page looks like, and this is what the second page looks like. On the second page, it says, using the information in the Venn diagram, write an observation about your two objects. So you're going to choose just two of the objects from our last lesson to compare and contrast. Okay? I'll walk you through it in just a minute. Let me read this next question too, just to get our wheels turning. Now, our last question, this is sort of a fun one to think about. What would happen if you changed one of the properties in one of the objects to be more like the other object? So when we pick our object, we want to think about objects that have properties that, some properties that they have in common, right? But then properties that also are different. And we want to think like, well, which of these objects would be fun to switch properties on? I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I have decided to use the golf ball and the cotton ball. I'm going to highlight those two. When it's your turn, you might want to take a highlighter or a yellow marker and highlight the two that you're doing as well, because this sheet can help you. Now, I chose these because they do have some things in common. For instance, they are both the same color. They share that property. They're both white. They also are both small, so they share the same property. They're of size. They're both the same size. They're both small. But then they have some differences as well. One is rigid, one is flexible, one is a sphere, one is irregular or doesn't have a shape that can be named. One is bumpy and hard, and one is soft and fluffy. So let me show you on our Venn diagram how that will look when I write it in. Okay, here's my Venn diagram. The first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pen or my pencil and write down my name. Make sure that you do that too. And write the date. Okay, now I am comparing and contrasting my golf ball and my cotton ball. Okay, so first, in the middle, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, even before we do that. The very first thing that we want to do is we want to name the two objects. So on this side, I'm going to write about the cotton ball, so I'll write cotton ball. And on this side, I'm going to write about the golf ball. So I'll write golf ball. Okay. Now, let me first talk about how they're the same. And remember, I can always use my sheet to help me, but I can also just observe them again. Well, one way that they're the same is, let's see, the property of color. They're both white. That's one property that they have in common. So I'm going to write white. And another way that they are the same is that they're both small. They're about the same size. So they share that property too. Okay, now I'm ready to talk about how they're different. So let me go through my sheet here. Well, let's look at the property of flexibility. The golf ball is rigid. The cotton ball is flexible. So I'll write that. Let's see. Cotton ball is flexible. The golf ball is rigid. Okay, let's see. How else are they different? Well, their shape, that property is different. One is a sphere and one is irregular. So the cotton ball is irregular, doesn't have a defined shape. So I'll write that here. Irregular. Okay, and then the golf ball does have a defined shape. It is the shape of a sphere. Three-dimensional, it's a sphere. I could also say it's round if I wanted to. Now let's see, what else? Oh, their texture. So the golf ball is bumpy and hard. The cotton ball is soft and fluffy. So the cotton ball is soft. And then I'll also write fluffy underneath. And then over here, the golf ball is hard and bumpy. Okay. So now I've written my Venn diagram. I've filled in my Venn diagram to describe these two objects. The reason I chose these two objects is because I was thinking it could be kind of fun to think about if I switched these two properties, soft and hard, like if I made the cotton ball hard and the golf ball soft. I thought about what that would look like and what would happen with those objects. So when I get to this question, I'll have something interesting to write about. Let me first answer this question though. It says, using the information in the Venn diagram, write an observation about your two objects. So I'm going to write how they're the same and how they're different. So I'll say the cotton ball and the golf ball are both, let me look back, white and small. The cotton ball and golf ball are both white and small, period. Okay, now I want to talk about how they are different. I could say the cotton ball, however, I could say the cotton ball is flexible, but the golf ball is rigid. The cotton ball is flexible, but the golf ball is rigid. Okay, I could have even written the cotton ball is soft, but the golf ball is hard. So when you fill out this part, you want to make sure that you talk about one way that the objects are the same and one way that the objects are different. Okay, now here's the really fun part. Now we get to really stretch our brains. What would happen if you changed one of the properties in one of the objects to be more like the other object? So I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about these properties. How the cotton ball is soft and the golf ball is hard. What if I made the golf ball soft instead of hard? Let's think about that. What would happen if you hit a golf ball and instead of the golf ball being hard, it was soft? Do you think it would travel very far when we hit it? Probably not, right? So let me see, how can I write that? If I changed the texture of the golf ball to be soft instead of hard, when I hit the golf ball with my golf club, it would not travel very far. That's a long sentence. I'm going to write it though. So if I changed the texture of the golf ball from hard to soft, it would not travel very far when I hit it with a golf club. Can you picture that? That would be kind of funny, right? If I tried to golf with like the cotton ball with something that was as soft as the cotton ball, it would probably only move like maybe a couple of inches, maybe a foot at the most. And think about how far golf balls travel when we go golfing. Okay, second grade scientists, now it is your turn. You are going to use this tool, this Venn diagram, to compare and contrast two of your items. Make sure that you highlight the two that you're going to compare and contrast. And then I want you to really get those science brains working. And you're going to answer these two prompts. Okay? I'll see you all next time. Have a great day, scientists. Keep learning and keep observing the world around you.